So I'm going to start recording and let me go ahead and share the screen. Okay. So we're looking at problems like this one. And the thing that we have to remember is that what are the angles inside of a triangle supposed to add up to? I know we've discussed this a couple times, but
180.
180.
180.
Exactly. So you always want the angles inside of a triangle to equal 180. So if, for example, I have 180 and we subtract, well, right here we have the other two angles, so we're gonna find it by subtracting the other two angles. So that's 180 minus 58 minus 47.
$75.
75. So that means that the last angle should be equal to 75.
75.
Okay. So what about with number 2? If we subtract,
Hold on. Let's see.
those two angles, 96 and 21, we'll be able to find the last one.
63.
63. I'm trusting you here, Lejean, because I'm actually not sure.
It's 63.
Okay. All right. So not too difficult, right? Now let's look at something like number, let's see.
16.
Yeah, so let's look at let's look at something. There was one over here, like number 4. Okay. So number 4, that one extends the triangle a little bit outside, right? So here's the thing. Let's go ahead and find this angle right here. I mean, we have the other two angles. So let's go ahead and find that angle. 180 minus 21 minus 34, right?
Um, 125.
Right. So we're able to find out that this angle over here is 125 because again, all the angles inside the triangle have to equal to 180. But we're asking for the angle, once we extend the line, we're asking for the other part of the angle. So how would we find that? How would we find x?
I don't know.
So think about the straight line that we have there.
That's a 90-degree angle. So you know that one's a 90 and that one's 25. And then you minus that whatever to get the 180 on top to find that angle.
Robert?
Wait a minute. Since when did Robert get good at math? Hold on.
You started joining.
I swear. Wait a minute.
Okay, so sorry, what was it that you said?
That line right there is like a 90-degree angle. So you know that side's 90, that one's 25. And then you would minus that by 180 to find that one up there.
So,
The top
okay.
one.
So whenever we're talking about a straight line, it's not 90, but the whole thing is 180 degrees, right? Remember, a straight
Yeah.
angle is 180 degrees. So if we know what we're basically having here is that, right? So if we know that this one is 125, how would we find the rest of it? we would subtract 125 from 180. Okay. And that is equal to 55. So this is what we would call the exterior angle, right? So let's look at another example similar to that one. Right here, number 16. Okay. So looking at number 16, we're looking for that angle right there. We have this exterior angle right here, and then we have that right angle. So let's start off by saying, obviously, what does it mean when we have a right angle?
Hold on.
It's
Less than
90.
90 or equal to 90. I forgot. Hold on. It's one of
90,
those two.
right. It's equal to 90 degrees. Whenever we're talking about a right angle, it's equal to 90 degrees. Okay. Now, we have one of the angles, but we're missing this one right here. Okay. So similar to what we just did right now, we have a straight line, right? We have a straight line, and we know that one of the angles is 122. So how are we going to find the other angle?
Do that thing,
You
but
subtract.
reverse.
You subtract from
90. Well, 122 minus 90.
It's 32.
Well, remember, this is a straight line. So
Straight line.
it's not 90, but it has to equal to what?
180.
180. So we're actually subtracting 122 from 180.
$58.
Right, 58. Okay. So now we know that two of the angles, one of them is 90, one of them is 58. So now how are we going to find the third angle?
Minus those, add those two and minus them by 180.
Right, so 180 minus 58 minus 90, which is basically the same thing, right?
32.
So you were saying add them together, you could do that as well, or you just subtract both of them from 180. So 180 minus 58 minus 90.
32.
Right, so that missing angle is 32. So the idea here is that we need to sort of, keep in mind, right? Like, what is it that we're looking at? Think about our straight angles, right? Remember that this has to equal to 180, right? But remember that the angles inside of a triangle also have to equal to 180. Let's see if there's other examples here. So actually, let's work on this one then. Let's go ahead and work on this one right here. So let's go in order. So we know that right here, angle 1, we know that one of those is 68. So what is the other part of the angle?
How'd you get 68?
So we're looking
Oh.
at this area right here, right?
Okay. Yeah, I see. I didn't see it.
Okay. So if that's 68, then what does that mean? What would angle 1 be?
It looks like
Over 90.
It's definitely over 90. So that's a good start, right?
Yeah.
But remember the same process that we've been doing this whole time. This is a straight line. So if we know one of them is 68, we would subtract from 180 to get the other angle. So angle 1 is 112. So we know that angle 1 is 112. And so we just kind of repeat the process, right? Angle 1 and angle 2 are on a straight line. So if angle 1 is 112, then what would angle 2 be?
78.
Or not 78, but what? I think your calculation was off a little bit. Would actually be 68. Okay. All right.
Right.
What about angle 3? Now it should be a little bit simpler, I think. It's again on a straight line, and we know that one of the angles is 90. So what is the other angle supposed to be?
90.
90 as well. And if this is 90, then what does that make angle 4? And again, this is a straight line.
90.
So that is also 90. Good. Okay. So now we have enough information to find the third angle. Okay. So we know that angle 4 is 90 degrees, and we know that angle 2 is 68. So how would we find angle 5?
Minus some by 180.
Exactly. It's basically 180 is like the magic number here, right? So 180 minus 90 minus 68 gives us 22. So those are the angles inside of the triangle. Okay, so what about, if that's 22, then what does that make angle 6? And again, we're in a straight line.
158.
158, okay. So we got that how?
I just subtracted 180 from 22. I can't talk right now.
All right, yeah, you're right. We subtracted 180 and 22, and we see that angle 6 is 158. That's pretty good. All right. Good so far. So so let's go with something like number 8, okay? Now with number 8, we start adding a little bit of algebra in there, right? And you know, it's always fun when we add a little bit of algebra. So let's think again without numbers or anything like that. And let's just say I'm gonna do angle, let's say this is angle 1, angle 2, and angle 3. What do we know about angle 1, angle 2, and angle 3? If I were to add them all together, what do we know?
They're 180.
they're all equal to 180, okay? So angle 1 plus angle 2 plus angle 3 should be equal to 180. So based off of that, let's just replace it, right? Angle 1 is x, angle 2 is 3x, and angle 3 is 2x.
Wait, why is angle 2? Okay, never mind.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just like, I just labeled them and I realized that it was kind of out of order. But it really doesn't matter, right? In the end, we're doing the exact same thing. So how would we solve this then? If we have x plus 3x plus 2x.
Combine the like things.
Okay, so we're going to combine the like terms. That's 1x plus 3x plus 2x should be equal to 6x.
Then you divide.
We're going to divide by 6. So
No.
x
By itself.
is equal to 180 divided by 6, which is
30, right?
exactly. So x should be equal to 30.
That's all we're doing. That seems easy.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, we found what x is, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what the angles measure, right? Like, for example, here, if x, that means that that angle is 30 degrees. But then with the other ones, for example, that's 2x, so we would have to multiply by 30, 2 times 30, which is 60. And 3 times 30, which is 90. So our angles are actually 30, 60, and 90. Yeah. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I actually think that the homework is just asking you to find x. So I don't think you're gonna have to find the measures like that, but either way, just so we're aware.
This the homework?
Yes, on Delta Math. Okay. So let's look at one last one, number 3. Now that one's a little bit different, okay? So we have 2 angles and then they're telling us that the third angle is 3x minus 1. So again, let's just say this is angle 1, this is angle 2, and this is angle 3. So we know that angle 1 plus angle 2 plus angle 3 are all equal to 180. So let's replace what we know. What is angle 1 equal to?
$90.
Angle 1 is 90 degrees. What about angle 2?
31.
31. And angle 3 is 3x minus 1. Okay. So again, what we want to do here is combine like terms. So we have 3x. Can we combine that with anything?
No.
No, there's no other x's, so 3x. What about 90, 31, and negative 1?
You can combine all those.
Right, so 90 plus 31 is 121, minus 1 is 120. Okay, so now we've simplified it and we have a equation that we can solve, right? So how do we solve this one?
180 minus 120.
So we're going to subtract 120 on both sides. That cancels out, and we're left with 3x is equal to 60. And then to cancel out 3, what are we going to do there?
Divide by 3.
We divide both sides by 3.
X equals 2.
And x
Or no, 30.
equals 20 actually.
20.
Okay.
There we go. So x is equal to 20. Good. If we wanted to find out how much that angle is, I mean, technically, since we have the other two angles, we could subtract them from 180 and we could figure it out that way, right? But we already know what x is. So let's just replace x in there. So that's 3 times 20, which is 60, minus 1 is 59. So the angles are 90, 31, and 59. Okay.
Oh, why'd you do all that? Oh, you wanted to find x.
Yeah, exactly. Because you were, I know you were just about to say that it's like we could have figured out that it was 59 by subtracting
90 and 31.
and 31, right?
Yeah.
So we could have figured it out that it was 59. And in reality, there's actually another way that we could have solved this equation. Because if I know that this angle is equal to 59, then all I had to do was say 3x minus 1 is equal to 59, right? So that was another way that we could have done that, okay? We add 1 on both sides, that's 60. And then we divide by 3, x is equal to 20, right? So that's two different ways that we can solve it, right? It's all about knowing how much this angle is equal to, or if we add them all together, we know that they're all equal to 180, okay?